Segment of the show for today. We're talking to Mr. ECapehart, and he is the founder of a mentoring organization called All the King's Men. And Mr. ECapehart, let's see if we can pick up where we left off during the last segment. We sort of thought I was running out of time, and I had more time than I thought. But nevertheless, let's pick up by talking about this program, All the King's Men, and the way that you wish to present it to the audience this morning.
Sure. In the last segment, we were talking about some of the exposure that we have been able to receive since we started the organization. We have an internal campaign. It's called Think Global. It's a concept that spans throughout our entire staff. And what Thinking Global does, we try to put in the mindset of all of our staff, our board members, our volunteers. We try to put into their minds that we are a global organization. We're not just a local organization, because the vision is a global vision. And with that, we've been able to get tremendous exposure. One story that I really like to tell is a couple months ago, we received a phone call from a lady in Toronto, Canada, and she had heard about some of the exposure that we were getting from a local news station here. She saw the story, and she was very interested in what we were doing here, simply because she was running the same type of organization in her home state, home country, Toronto, Canada. So she gave us a call and said she would like to come down and meet with me. So she flew down here for one day, and we met, had a really good meeting, lasted a couple hours, and she went back home the next day. So knowing that we were able to reach someone in another country, it's very important for us to be constantly mindful that we are a global organization and that we are to think global. Some of the other exposure that we've been able to get, we've received phone calls from Chicago, which actually in a few weeks I'm actually headed to Chicago because we're in the initial phases of starting another chapter in Chicago. So that's another great thing. Just recently, maybe a week ago, we were featured in the Jackson Sun newspaper. They gave us a call because they're kind of experiencing some of the same things that we're experiencing here as it relates to teenage crime in the African American community, especially the boys. So they gave me a call, and we did a phone interview, and we were featured in that. And we get calls from all around the country, but we have a very strong support base here in our own home state, in our national headquarters here in Nashville, Tennessee.
And so this is an opportunity, a real opportunity. Now, what is this program all about, Mr. ECapehart?
Sure. I'll tell you, All the King's Men, we have a very strong mission. Our mission statement is to reduce the disproportionate minority contact with the juvenile court system amongst the male population across the United States of America. In short, what we're trying to do is we're working to reduce the number of times African American boys, particularly, come into contact with the juvenile court system. When we started All the King's Men, it just kind of started, you know, I mentioned the competition for the Mr. Tennessee, and I wrote down everything that I thought that made me become the man that I was at that time. Just simple things like learning how to tie a tie, learning how to wear a suit, you know, how to talk in front of people, just simple things. And what I did was I created a 9-month curriculum, and I told my campaign manager, I said, hey man, this is the vision, and if we're the only 2 people that do it, this is something that I know that we can do. And he was all for it, and we started it. We used to meet 1 day a week at the Hadley Park Community Center. We met on Saturdays with a group of kids, about 15 boys, and we met with them every Saturday for a whole year. Somewhere through the year, we started realizing that we're making a tremendous impact in the lives of these young boys. And the way that we were able to recognize that is because their families would come to us, their mothers would come and say, hey, my son is wearing ties to school every day now. You know, I didn't know he knew how to tie a tie. Or my son is getting in less fights, or he's, you know, his teachers are calling and saying he's, you know, being much better in school, not only academically, but also behavior-wise. And so we were kind of getting a little steam about ourselves. And so what we started to do was we started to take a real internal look at what we were really doing. And we started doing more research. And what we found was that what we were doing was called group mentoring. Most traditional mentoring programs, they do what's called one-to-one mentoring, where they match a student with an adult mentor, and they meet maybe 1 or 2 hours a month, or however the frequency is for that. But we realized that what we were doing was known as group mentoring. What we were doing was we were inviting just different people to come out and speak to our guys, different people from fraternities, or just anybody in the community that has something positive to give to these young black males. And we were doing it in a group setting. And so we said, okay, now we're kind of starting to develop what we're doing. At least now we know we're doing group mentoring. So what we did at that point, we took it a step further, And we started doing more research about, juvenile justice and delinquency. And so what I came across the Office of Juvenile Justice, Delinquency and Prevention, and I came across there's a list of models that they have. And the model that we use in All the King's Men is known as the after-school recreation model. So the after-school recreation model has three major functions. The first function is to provide adult supervision. The second function is to provide positive social interaction and positive enriching experiences for the students. And it's also the third function of it is to provide help with homework. And so that's what we were already doing, but we didn't know that it was called
group monitoring, mentoring.
Yeah, we didn't know that it was. We didn't know we were doing group mentoring, but what the way we were doing group mentoring was already proven. It was the model that we use is an evidence-based model from the Office of Juvenile Justice, Delinquency and Prevention. So we said, hey, we're already doing some things, that has already been proven to work, and so that's the basic function that's the basic model that All the King's Men uses. We use a group mentoring, and we've added the after-school recreation model from the Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention. So that's what we do.
No, go on.
Oh, also, our programming, it's a 9-month program, and what we offer in those 9 months, we offer a leadership development program. It's our signature program. We are very proud of the success that we've had with it. It's called the Kings in Training. Basically what the Kings in Training program is when any student is enrolled into All the King's Men, we enroll them into the Kings in Training. Now what we've done was, there's an organization called the Search Institute, and what they have developed is something that is known as the 40 developmental assets of an adolescent. And so what we've done is we've highlighted some of those developmental assets and built a program around some of those developmental assets, which we call that our Kings in Training program. It's a very positive program for these young boys. It's the signature program that we bring these boys in and we introduce them to what it means to live as a responsible young man in today's communities and societies, and also be able to deal with and handle some of the things that they're being faced with. So that's our signature program. We also have another program that we just started this year. It's called the King's Course. And the King's Course is simply designed to prepare young boys for life after high school. We do GPA assessments. We take them on college tours. We bring in people from different colleges and universities to speak with the kids. And we also give them something very important is we actually expose them to college life so that when they go on these college campuses, they're not so overwhelmed with college life. Okay,
and of course, Mr. Capehart, let's take this second commercial break, and we'll come back and we'll pick up at this particular point, and we'll be back with our audience following this very, very short commercial break.